Yeah, I'm drinking already. That's how I am after this AMA today. Welcome to a last minute. I told you I was gonna start doing some lives last minute when, I don't really think I have enough to make a video on. So, welcome to the Tuesday night live stream. Hope everybody's doing well. Funny story. I just had some door-to-door sales guy for pest control. Seemed like a really nice guy come by. I have my hat and stuff on. He says, "Are you busy?" I said, "Man, I'm in the middle of a live stream." He's like, "Well, give it to me. I'm going to tune in." So if the pest control guy tunes in, welcome aboard. He asked me how many subscribers I had. I told him 32,000. He seemed like he was kind of surprised. I guess an old man would have 32,000 subscribers. So hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody caught up with my video. Catching up on all the projects. It just seemed like a very boring video. I'll call it out when I want to call it out. I know I put, is Deep Pin kind of stale, and I didn't really like the title too much as Deep Pin stale, because look, I know there's a lot of stuff going on Deep Pin, but for the projects we already in, it just doesn't seem like anything new and exciting is happening. So, that's another reason why I wanted to do the live, just to see what y'all can bring me. Just I know that Helium Deploy is with all the KOLs and different stuff like that coming out with new projects and pushing different things, but I don't know which one's a legit, which one's good. There could be the 7th different version of a weather station. Funny stories is my weather XM station replacement finally came in. So today, before I left work, it was only 95 degrees. I installed my weather XM station back. So, got that back up. Got my rover device set back up in my work vehicle. So I got to do that today. So that's 2 different projects I'm back in on that, I had issues with in the past. So, 619, I know I missed the first 20 minutes of the AMA, but I have a gut feeling that you didn't get your wish. I didn't get my wish on TGE, and I don't think you got your wish on bigger hex size. If I'm wrong, y'all tell me I'm wrong, but I don't know what I missed the first 20 minutes. Again, I had a work staff meeting, and the work that's really paying the bills right now, because Wingbits ain't, that comes first. So I was very antsy in there. I'm like, all right, I gotta go. And jumped out that meeting as soon as I could. And of course, I get right in that meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, the AMA, just for them to hear them discuss TGE. Now, when I heard TGE, they didn't really go into a big explanation. Apparently, had discussed it early on in the AMA. But for those of y'all who are in Wingbits, I know I got egg on my face, but I heard it out of the man's mouth himself during the AMA that we were supposed to go to a TGE mainnet last week of August, first week of September. I look like an ass. I'm just going to say it because I have been telling my hosts who have been involved with this project for a year, who don't really get involved in crypto, who don't understand what a test net and a main net is. I've been telling them, hold on, just hold off. End of August, beginning of September, we're going to start paying. They're going to start paying. And then I had to also kind of explain to them that you're not getting all these rewards right away like we thought. They're going to be also spread out. And now I got to go back to explain to them why or how or what reason. Hey, I thought y'all going to get paid first week of September, but that's been pushed off. And I think that's what I'm more disappointed about. And I wanted to make sure I came on here and clarify that, because I made some posts in the Discords earlier. I want to make sure people understand I'm not upset with the project in the whole. I'm still pumping out projects. I have a device right now behind me that I'm putting together, a DIY device. I had it around here, which I already have 4 or 5 stations around here for Wingbits. And my niece is got a new loft in New Orleans in the French Quarter, and there's no Wingbit station around there. Best part is she has fiber straight to her loft, and it's like over a gig speed. So I'm putting Earn app on it just so I can try to maximize that. And same thing, I told her when Wingbit starts paying out, I'll give her a percentage of it. Her boyfriend is really kind of into crypto. He's been asking me a lot of stuff. He joined the channel also, but I'm working on that station. And again, while some of it's going to be shaded because they got some big old oak trees in New Orleans, there's still nothing in New Orleans for the low level aircraft. Low level, they got an airport right there, kind of a private regional airport. A lot of helicopters and stuff, low level helicopters for the news and for sporting events, hospitals, and I'm hoping to capture all that. I don't think it's gonna. I know it's not gonna get one. I know it's not gonna be one of these stations that gets 200 miles out just because of the topography around it. But my point is, I'm going through all that right now. I'm not changing my mind or anything about, because I had somebody PM me wanting to know, how I feel about Wingbits not going to AMA anytime soon, or not like originally scheduled. And I wanted to make sure I came on here and kind of explain that. I have to go cancel all my dancing girls now that I had for September 1st, and all my pizzas and all that stuff, the parties I kept telling y'all about. But hey, for the betterment of the project, I can understand where Robin's coming from. I don't understand some parts of it. I kind of like friends that are just got married and talking about having kids, and they always like, we wait for the perfect time to have kids. Brother, there's no perfect time. There's always, I talked to a guy just today at work today, to take it from an older guy, there's always something going on. I got a friend who's going through all kinds of financial issues, and he had some issues with some finance issues and stuff like that. He finally got rid of that, finally got taken care of. And then he works for a plant, and one of the biggest plants we have down here. And because of some of these environmental people, the plant is all of a sudden closing up. He's losing his job and stuff like that. And he's like, man, it just seems like you can never get ahead. And there's always something coming. And that's what my point I'm getting with that is that I think if Wingbits is waiting for the perfect time with the market, like they said in the past, there's never a perfect time. There's always something going on, especially with this president throwing curveballs every other day, zigging. He's saying he's going to zig when he's really zagging, and you never know. You'd never know what's going to happen with this market. I see people talking about, hey, is the rate going to go down next month? And next month is rates going down. He's basically threatening people to make the rate go down. And what's going to happen is if it doesn't go down, you're going to have this, I won't say crash, but you're going to have some negativity in the markets. And I think that's why the markets are going up right now. Part of it is because you got people thinking that the market, that the rates are going to go down and stuff like that. So I used to really be in Litecoin. One of my first ASIC miner was the L3++. I think it was L3+++++, one of them, from Bitminer. And it was early on, so I did very, very well with it. Of course, I don't own any Litecoin right now. Through the years, I have exchanged it for other things. What I did originally was, when I got into Luna Classic, I got Luna Classic at the bottom, $500 on my Litecoin. It's still worth, $1,500, $2,000 now. So I can only hope that Litecoin goes up some more. But one of my buddies texted me and said, hey man, you still got all that Litecoin? I'm like, no. He's like, let's up like 30% right now. I'm like, why? This is just a perfect example of, can anybody tell me a single project? Can anybody tell me anything at all about Litecoin? You can't. The owner sold it all, said he was getting out of it, but this is crazy. Beginning of July, you had $83. You had 130 right now. It wasn't that long ago. This was like at 60 something dollars. In April, 60 something dollars. But like, look at it right now. Again, I just thought it was fun. It's just something that I wanted to discuss tonight. If anybody's in Litecoin or anything like that. Yeah. So, Let's Stephen Armstrong. I'm gonna tell you this. My son that's about to go to school. I don't want to start choking up on live right now, but we had issues at first. We tried for 2 years, and I'm gonna tell you that without getting in trouble with YouTube, um that task that you have to do to make kids, when it becomes a challenge and you start having issues like that, it's not fun anymore. It becomes a task, and you're like, oh man, we gotta do this. Like, oh yeah, the temperature's right now. This is the perfect time. When it becomes a task, it's not fun. But good luck to you, man. Have fun trying. That's all I can tell you. So I gotta add. I stream on another monitor just so I can see what's going on. I gotta add right when I first linked up, but I didn't get another ad. So ads must be separate, like different times. Basically, I can turn ads on or off. It ain't, kind of conservative, medium, or aggressive. I guess that's the word for more ads. I don't have that on. So it should be less ads. But, YouTube needs to make their money. Come on, man. I need to make my $3 per video. So they got to show y'all some ads. Oh, yep. When it's a task, it doesn't. Oh, so I'm gonna tell you the Wingbits ETA, for those who are asking, they didn't give one. I don't even want to say one at this point. Like I said, I know for a fact I missed the last AMA. I want to say I might have missed the last AMA. I know I did a video on the last one before that. Oh no, the last one might have been canceled. I don't know. The last AMA I watched, because I have it written down somewhere, and I have the video. Robin said we're definitely having it September 1st. Definitely having it September 1st, or that week, the first week of September, because we got contracts that are going to be signed. We have to get it out by then. We're working on CEXs, and we have obligations to them. And there's, so when you hear that, you think I can run with it. And then you hear that today, and you're like, but I have to believe the man. He's been wanting to do an AMA with my channel. I've never did one with him, and that's on me, because I just feel like this setup is not professional enough for what Wingbits is going to offer. That's how high I think of that project. But he's saying that if he signs a contract, it'd be detrimental long term to the project. So I guess I can understand him not rushing into an AMA. I mean, into a CEX or to TGE just for our sake. Like he said, you have one chance to do right. One thing I don't agree with, I'm gonna tell you I don't agree with, and I didn't get a chance really to argue with people because it ended. But for those of you who watched or were in the AMA today, we started having a I won't say heated, a lively discussion on CEXs. So listen, I know a little bit about crypto. I'm not gonna say I know a lot about crypto, but I know a little bit about crypto. I'm not stupid. I understand the more CEXs you allow makes it easier for all these people, thousands and thousands. I don't know how many people. I love to know how many people are participating in Wingbits right now. I understand it makes it easier for them to sell. I understand it. I'm not stupid. So you want to not Wingbits, the people in the chat. So you want to limit CEXs so that people can't sell? Is this, entropy and junk coin? This is not that kind of project. I look at it as is what I've watched in all these other projects that we discuss on Mondays. All these other projects discussed on Mondays. What's one of the biggest things I've always discussed? You can burn until you burn your drawers alive that you're wearing. But if you don't have liquidity coming in, it don't mean chit, CHIT, chit. So I don't get in trouble with YouTube. The only way you're going to get people to buy Wingbits, or majority of the people are going to buy Wingbits, your average investors, people who like, hey, I know about Wingbits. I've heard about Wingbits. I don't want to go buy a station, but I want to buy the token. They're gonna buy that on CEXs. They're not going to a DEX for that. So many people don't know how to use DEXs. They don't know how to use Phantom. They don't have stuff in Phantom. They need the CEX. And that's just my 2 cents on it. Again, I could be completely wrong, or we can go back to Grumpy's rule number 1, I told you so. You watch some of these other projects, and don't quote me on it, but I want to say it was like Sword Chain, Natick, Silencio, one of them were like that, 2 of them, where they couldn't handle even being on Mech C. And you watch the volume of their token now slow down to a crawl because people aren't going on DEXs to buy that. I understand what Robin's saying. Yes, they're getting bigger and more popular, and I understand that. And I understand his other part. Binance wants an arm, leg, and your firstborn to get involved in it. But, I can understand them skipping that. I feel that if a token gets popular enough, then Binance is going to want in on it. But to say that, again, this is to the people in the chat of that AMA earlier, to say that we don't want CEXs, maybe I'm old school. Maybe CEXs are old school. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But I just think that you need CEXs to be successful on a big project. You want to be a big boy project on a big project scale? One reason I think, like Demo, was it Demo that's on Coinbase? People even questioned, like, how in the hell did they get on Coinbase as a new project? Apparently they followed the right steps. But, I think, yeah, it's Demo. You can buy and sell Demo on Coinbase. And that's not. So y'all give the video a like if y'all like last minute lives. Milkman, I do agree with that. We're making a bonus, testnet bonus, if that is. You're right. We are just going to keep on, and that's one reason, that it's not the end of the world. It's a little disappointing. I'm not gonna sit there and pretend like it ain't disappointing. Again, majority of my disappointment is that I had a training trip planned for Vegas in October. But other than that, it was mostly because some of my hosts that had been hosting a station for me, more than one, in different states, have been asking, inquiring, like, hey, God, look, man, we've been hosting this thing for a year without a penny in returns. I'm trying not to pay them out of pocket. I fear that day might be coming, just because I kept telling them end of August, early September. Hey, make sure that you know how to get to that Phantom wallet. Remember that Phantom wallet I talked you into creating, and you save those 12 words? Make sure you can still get into it. And I think that is what, at least in my case, y'all tell me what y'all's deal is, but how y'all feel about it. But again, this is still my number one project. I think it's going to be great. Y'all know me. If y'all have followed this channel for any time at all, y'all know me. I can find a negative sliver in any ray of hope. That's just me. And unfortunately, that's just the way I'm built. I've been disappointed so many times in life. And look, I don't mind that for me, because when you're negative and you expect the worst, and then you don't get it, you get something very positive, it just makes it more positive for you. And that's how, the way he talked about certain contracts, like before he talked about contracts being signed and stuff like that, or contracts, with or that people use them as a third party or whatever it is. Today, he didn't seem as solid with that. Maybe I missed it. Maybe he discussed contracts in the beginning and I missed that part. Hey, it's still a new project. He's told us in the past that some of these people that need that data had already been in contracts with other companies. He's also said that, they still got some certain areas they need to fill the gaps in. They talked about, you know, somehow pointing out what he said, like islands and different things like that. Somebody in the AMA asked them, hey, what about some of these open areas in the sea? And he said, like, we're going to work on that. But wait a minute. I thought that's what they had the satellite for. That I was confused on that. But again, I didn't want to sit there and ask all these questions of the AMA. But y'all tell me, I thought that's one reason why they were so proud of this satellite, because the satellite was going to capture a lot of these areas that they couldn't capture with land stations. Milkman said, being 30 is, I'm good. Six without if you can shoot a satellite in space, you get a Barnett's. Look, they're not the first project that says Binance wants to arm a leg. I say that, but I'm now going to contradict myself, because that's what's good about my channels. I'll tell you when I'm contradicting myself. I've said this before about D-Scam and some other projects we were in. You look at Binance. Binance has some meme, junk, crap tokens that you've never heard of before. How are they getting the liquidity or whatever the requirements are for Binance? How are they getting that to get on Binance? And some of these projects don't have that, available to get on Binance. I've always kind of questioned that. Coinbase, they got Kraken out there. They got a bunch of them. KuCoin is one I used to use a lot until they really ramped up the KYC. That's what I did a lot of my trading on. Lost a lot of money on, but that was my own fault. So, sell it for Russia, China, and Africa, maybe. I don't know. Bahamian Island. I like the was it you who said they buy me an aircraft carrier? I wanted to type on there, but I didn't want to show my age. But they always got that meme around Christmas that says another Christmas I'm still waiting on my G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. I really wanted to put that on there. Does this mean somebody's finally going to buy me my G.I. Joe aircraft carrier? I think he brought up something to do with Lego aircraft carriers. So, satellite is used primarily to validate land data. The site has a very narrow range of view at any given moment. It moves coverage quickly. Yeah, I thought they mentioned something that this was also going to help with areas that are open that don't have the coverage. He also brought up, somebody mentioned oil rigs. We have a lot of oil rigs in Southeast Louisiana. I know a lot of people that worked on oil rigs in Louisiana. I brought up the fact about network, because you're using basically their network, whether it's a guest network or whatever they want to call it. And they firewall the hell out of it because it's petroleum. Petroleum plants around here, and the petroleum, they treat that like industrial espionage. We have drone detection at work and at the parishes next to us. We don't have drone detection because of terrorists. We have drone detection because you have these people from these stock markets and stock exchanges or whatever they are, who will pay somebody to illegally fly over a petroleum plant out here, because all the big tanks, if you'll ever see them big tanks on petroleum plants, they got floating roofs. So they will pay somebody to illegally fly over other petroleum plants to see what those oil tank levels are, so they can get a heads up on what the futures are going to be on oil exchanges. For the longest time, the local Marathon refinery that's in the parish where I work at was the largest gasoline refinery in the United States. Now I think it's Beaumont. But so now they're the second largest. These guys couldn't take a phone into work. That's how strict they were about that kind of stuff. You left your phone in your car. If you got caught with a phone, your cell phone, you got reprimanded. For 12 hours, them guys are working shifts. But my point is, that's how locked down their networks are. I can't see them letting somebody put a Wingbit station in the middle of an oil rig, unless that person's going to pay for their own. They actually have cell phone coverage out there, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're using microcells or something like that on the plant. I mean, on the oil rigs or something. Maybe you could do that, but I do like the idea, but a lot of them ain't far enough out. I've actually mentioned in their Discord before about portable stations. I just don't know how that would work with GPS, but like I was fishing and I'm in the Gulf of Mexico. If y'all saw that on my Twitter and on my Discord, and then I could be riding around on the boat with a D-fly. I mean, oh Jesus, D-fly. With a Wingbit station. The reason I'm saying D-fly is that was one of the scams D-fly had. If y'all remember, if y'all were in that scam long ago, was they had these little bitty goofy adapters that could attach to your phone so that you could make a portable station. That's the only reason why it's on my mind. One of the many thousand scams that they stole, along with D-Charge and VHF airplanes and ships and stuff like that. They were good at stealing ideas. CX want to make X money per month on a listing where the project covers that on the fees on volume cover it. It's another dude behind these specs. See, I'm glad to actually see they explain all that to us. Cargo ships. So y'all get it from Axie. Trying to see what who still owns Litecoin. I have 28% people say I do. 6% people said I thought it was dead. It won't even let me vote because that's what I wanted to vote for. Is I thought it was dead. I used to own Litecoin, but Litecoin was the 3. When I started back when we used to ride our horse and buggy to the local exchange. That was what Coinbase. That was the biggest thing, was when Coinbase expanded from Bitcoin and it added Ethereum and Litecoin. People went back and forth. We had some heated discussions at work. Who was going to be number 2? Was it going to be Ethereum? Was it going to be Litecoin? Was it going to be Ethereum? Or was it going to be Litecoin? And look what happened to Litecoin. People don't even talk about it. I don't even know where it's ranked right now. For the longest time, it was number 3. Let's see. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP 325 up 10% the last 7 days. Watch out. You better watch out. XRP Rail's gonna come in here and start eating me up. Dogecoin, Trunk, Cardano up 84 cents, up 16% last week. Chainlink, Sui, Hedera, Avalanche. Here's Litecoin number 19. They're still hanging in there, top 20. Watch out. Top 20. Now this says only up 9%. I don't know where Coinbase is getting theirs from. Yeah. Let's see. Litecoin. Oh, for the month, they're up 41%. My buddy told me 30-something%, but for the month, they're up 40%. Either way, project that they thought was dead. Polkadot, 418. Crow, 16. I just need Crow go back to $1. Crow goes back to $1 paying off a car. Boom. That quick. I got 30. I think I'm up to about 33,000 Crow. Started with 4,800. That card's been the best thing. One of the best things. Let's see what I got. 31,200. Pay off one of my kids' cars. Get to get back to $1. Let's see what else. H-bar. I told my niece's boyfriend about H-bar. Solana almost at $200 again. So what's funny is you see all these YouTubers who last week were like, oh, well, we were thinking this going to be an alt season, blah, blah, blah. And then now you look today with all these prices, positive price action, and you see all these YouTubers out there now like, this was the sign we were waiting on. We just saw this signal flash. It's like they're all reading from the same book. We saw this signal. Oh, I saw this signal flash. This is the signal we're waiting for. Me, I'm telling people that if you're in a lot of profits, sit profits. Because you never know what next week holds. Never know what next week holds. What else? Oh. Did anybody ever find out what's going on with Irwin? I still can't claim anything. Bird eye. Let's refresh this in case. So we've had 2 transactions in 24 hours. Selling for 9 cents and 88 cents. Is there anybody left still in Irwin? Because I talk about Irwin on my videos on Monday. I really think I'm going to start skipping it unless y'all tell me y'all are still messing with Irwin. It's got $400 in liquidity right now. I don't know what. But again, you can't claim. I have tried to claim the last couple of weeks. None of it's gotten into my wallet. I've contacted them. Even though we've had this problem in the past, now they're acting like they don't know what's going on. Somebody's asking them about NFTs, buying NFTs. I'm like, what? Fix y'all's problems first. But AMD, I tried to check it out today, but it seems like their links to the webpage are jacked up. I wish I had money to buy gold. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I could buy gold. Years ago when you watched or listened to certain talk radio people and stuff, it was all about gold. And I'm like, back then I was like, man, gold only barely move. And you look at what it is now, 10, 15 years later, I'm like, I wish I would have bought some of that gold. Couldn't afford it then because my kids can't afford it now. But, who fought it? That Discord is a ghost town. It is a true ghost town. When you look at what that Discord is, other than that the cat keeps getting burned in the box, you have 1 or 2 people every 12 or 24 hours ask what the hell's going on in here, and so-and-so's at work or something's going on. I don't know. It's sad. It's another project. I thought it was a cool idea with the whole cat in the box thing. Erwin Schrödinger experiments. I wish that I'm not giving up on them, but it ain't like it's costing me money. What's it costing to run an ESP32? 5 cents, a nickel a day, maybe. Yeah, one person put a picture up at 3:05 a.m. Other one, it's in a state of working life first time, so chill and wait. Like these were messages were 15, 16 hours. No, 24, 28 hours ago, 30 hours ago. Chat seems to have died. So I don't know what's going on with this project. When I first joined the project, I opened the box. I got all kinds of rewards. I'm like, this project's gonna be pretty cool. Ain't opened a box since then. And it's, who farted, he gave up on it. He don't even tell us when to go charge the box anymore. So it's money on Ash. You can go buy gold. This level you can DCA into gold as well. See, I didn't think you could DCA into gold. I thought you had to go buy, like I went serious one time online to go look for the little gold doubloons, medallions, whatever you want to call them, coin pieces and stuff like that. When I saw what the price of some of those were, I was like, holy hell. I thought you had to go buy the whole thing. It shows you what I know about gold. Um, Ashlers. I didn't buy Ashlers out of pocket. I moved stuff around, sold other tokens, did different things. Um, Sold some entropy off of for a while on one of my wallets. I was buying entropy. I've told everybody the story. I was buying entropy every time it dipped. I put in a sell order when it dipped for a certain price. I would trigger and buy it, and it would come up, of course. And I used that to buy Ashlers. So I didn't really pay out of pocket for Ashlers and definitely not the NFTs. So Silver Beskar list. I thought Beskar was the stuff from the Disney Mandalorian TV show. Entry Drip 17 posted earlier. This goes down. It's still money. You're right. It is money. It is money. But the key is, though, is when I move crypto around to buy Ashlers, my wife don't see it. That's the difference. If I have to sell crypto and then put that into my account to buy gold, we just ignore the Amazon that comes in every day. Gold ETFs work also. I'm going to have to look into that. Yes, we won't sit here in line and say the price is not going down of that of entropy. Let me see. We were higher before. What I'm curious to know is if people are getting smacked for all this. It was up to it almost ate a zero, almost ate zero. I was very upset. I thought we were going to eat that zero. It came down a very good bit, and then slowly has crept back up. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. We had that halving. That didn't help anything. Y'all know how I feel about halvings, especially 1 year halvings. I don't understand that at all. But it is what it is. Hey, it's got $291,000 of liquidity. That's a little bit more than what Irwin does. But you got somebody who sold 1 million entropy earlier. Again, we don't know what they held, but that might be the there's a bot, this PRZHD. I guess y'all can't see it because my head's in the way. But let's see. Let's move this over. This PRZDHD is a maker or whatever they call it. Bot, some kind of purchasing bot. You got me. I don't know. That's entropy. My Ashlers are still going. Maybe one day we can sell. It will take 4 to buy an Ashland and Acolyte. That's not. I don't know where that 440 days comes from. But you got 130 for that, 200 for that, 330 divided by 3. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that from. Right now, it's $130 for an Ashler, right? So if it's $130 for the Ashler, and you got people buying NFTs for about $200. Some went for 1 point something, 200. Let's say 250, and you're making $3 a day. That's 126 days for ROI. So, but I'm not earning $110 a day. Let me see. We can look right now. I just cleaned out my entropy. See what I'm making. Let's see. So this one is making 2x. So 19,741, 20,000. So if you hold the whale, isn't a whale 1.3? So it's 20,000. It might be 20,000. So $1.55 is what you're making. So I was going off of mine with the 2x. So $1.55 with the numbers we used earlier. What was it? 130 plus 2. What's it actual cost? Divided by 1.55 is 225 days. And that's at this price. Price can go down. It's going to take longer to ROI. Still less ROI than what GeoNet is, but you can also cash out GeoNet. So it is what it is. That's also if you're buying one right now too. So, see, it says that, but then when you look at Magic Eden, let's look at Magic Eden. Now I can't even get to a website. Kids must all be streaming everything. But when you look all the way to the right, I know what the NFTs say they're selling for. But when you look all the way to the right and you see what the recent transactions are, yesterday when I looked at that in my video, they were all less than what they're currently going for. That's what I don't understand. So I don't know if that's people that are just making. All right, so here we go. So you have right now, you have 2.117. But when you look at it, and of course my screen's cut off. Excuse me. Of course, I had dinner and Diet Coke right before this thing. When you look at the prices of what this has been going for, I mean, you have one for the snake's 3.35. But here's a whale for 1.68 Solana, 1.42 Solana, 1.41 Solana, 1.41 Solana, 1.8. So these prices over here don't match what people are selling for. Like, I don't know if people are bidding and this is what the bids are closing out at. I don't know. You do know that there are 18 NFTs that have been sold in the last 24 hours. I know that, you've had Astros being sold. You know what? It's just like every other project. You get in early. People would got in early on Entropy. When we had, when you could do the ESP32s, it worked out for you. Just like any project. I wouldn't get in GeoNet today. There's a lot of projects I would not get into today because I wouldn't go get a weather XM station right now. A lot of other ones. So bought and sold over 70. Oh. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Price goes up, it goes up. If not, not. I mean, I'm not hiding anything. I'll show you all what the screen looks like. And if people think it's ROIs though high, they pass over it and go to another project. It's as simple as that. You're not hurting my feelings any. It is what it is. To me, they had to know that this kind of decision was, I mean, that this was going to happen, right? I mean, they had to know that people at some point, NFTs would get too expensive. I mean, it's what the market dictates, especially with this, because if you can go set a whale NFT or any NFT for 5 or 6 Solana, doesn't mean it's going to sell. If you want to sell it bad enough, you're going to have to reduce it. You know, you got people trying to personally push out, sell NFTs. You know, they're not the only project going this route. And I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. My thing is, what's the end game? Is at some point they're going to have to let people sell. We can't all be holding forever while other people sell and just say, screw it, I'm getting out. That's not fair to people that have held on forever. So you hope that they got some kind of end game, or they got some kind of entropy B that's coming, whether that's going to be an exchange or a DEX that can handle the selling pressure. I don't know. Personally, I wish I would have, if I would just follow their advice and not been hard headed thinking I knew better, and I would just minted more NFTs like they told me to do, I could be selling NFTs also. I have 2 extra NFTs I could be selling. One's a snake and one's a whale. I keep holding out, watching what the snake price is, because I'm thinking I'm gonna sell it at some point. You know, I don't know how many snakes are being sold. You know, when you look at, yeah, one right here for 3.45 Solana. The part of me wants to hold out and see if they start going for higher. But it's just like you said, who would buy that? Who's going to go spend 4 Solana? You know, if Solana's almost 200, that's $800 almost. Not counting what Magic Eden gets. I don't know. Look how many unlisted NFTs they sold. Let's meet me in person. Meet up and have me fun. Yeah, sure it is. Oh, we ain't talking about Encore. So, been a bunch breaked also. So that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if are these devices, people who are selling, because I know for a fact, I know at least two or three people that have contacted me saying, hey, I had a national set up for 1 week and I sold I claimed and then sold just to test it out, because people said, you know, you couldn't do it. And I did it, but now my Astro don't work. Well, then you weren't paying attention to any of the rules. The same rules you had the checkbox. You know, I know I'm going around in circles. I've had this discussion with people in the Twitter thread that we have, or the Twitter X chat that we have, that at some point you're asking people to pay for this stuff. And at some point, you're going to have to expect people to at some point take some kind of profits. You can say it's nothing all you want, but it is something. Especially now. It's one thing when we bought ESP32 devices, or like me, got an extra cred for ESP32 device, and then I was able to use that to buy it. You know, I didn't realize that at the current price, you're making $1.50, $1.60 a day, and I'm gonna have to go and redo my math, but because you know I'm straight with y'all. But it is what it is. The Encore team is the entropy team. Well, what I was told was that the entropy team is who broke off the Encore team. They were all part of it at one point, but they have broken off of the Encore team. So, you know, and again, unless my math is, I told you, I failed college math. Unless, you know, I showed you what I'm making with Encore, and some people are talking about how Encore isn't paying out hardly anything. So unless my math is wrong on that, Encore was doing pretty well. You know, I have one station on Encore, which is a station that is also mining GeoNet. You know, I guess it was coming down a little bit, and now it's going up. You know, I never figured out what the ROI is because somebody, Jorge sent me the Encore device to set up, so I didn't pay for that out of pocket. A deal that me and him set up. So I don't know what the current ROI is for Encore. I know some people are very disappointed in it, but it is what it is. All these guys are in the same circles in New Jersey, New York. Yeah. Milkman, I don't doubt you, brother, at all. I don't doubt you. But if you read their previous announcement or the announcement that they just released, I could have sworn that they just announced that they don't care how many devices you run now. Because now they're starting to sell them. Let's see if I can find entropy, ENT announcements. Sorry, so here we go. This announcements came out August 9th, and it says, let me see if I can blow it up for y'all a little bit. Y'all love live, you know, I say it every time. The moment you've been waiting for is almost here. Ashler storefront is about to go live. So instead of dealing with helium deploy and worrying about shipping and all stuff like that, they're supposedly going to sell them themselves. I don't understand why. To me, if you go ask Axie with Wingbits, he'll tell you the one thing you don't want to deal with is shipping logistics, and all of the issues like that. But it also says, after enforcing per house limits of nearly 100 units, we're no longer here to hype anyone. This isn't an ad. But somewhere I was told that they're not having limits anymore. But I don't see that anymore. Was this edited? Yeah, somebody distinctly DM'd me and said, hey, you heard they got rid of the 5 entropy Ashlers. What do you feel about that? And I'm like, I have to go back and read it. Oh, yeah, it was an announcement. We're no longer here to hype anyone. After enforcing per household limits on, I don't know. It's too late to read fine print. Don't do it. I'm old and cranky, and I don't want to do a flex time. You burn me. I've been burned too many times by projects. You burn me once with a project, I'm done with you at this point. For those of y'all who might not have been in flex time in the beginning, I just have an issue with the way that all the liquidity was taken out by a certain party, accidentally dumped to this person. Yet that person was sitting there right there ready within the second. Like if you accidentally pay somebody too much, when you give out rewards to everybody, who's sitting there waiting for, at that time you're getting a couple cents a day. Who's sitting there waiting for that reward? But that person was there waiting for that reward and moved it instantly. I'm not going to say it's an inside job because I don't have any proof of that, of course, and I don't want to accuse somebody of something that could have been completely innocent. But it just smelled fishy. Everything smelled fishy with it. And I have nothing to do with flex time at this point. I'm really being picky on what I join at this point. Combinder, I told you before, is a new project. I needed new plugs. It didn't cost anything to get in. It was basically like a what the hell. Told you all about it too. If Combinder goes under, the D-Pin project Combinder, if it goes under, you still got your plugs that work with no problem. I'm putting a Combinder plug in this station I'm working on, Wingbits station that's going into New Orleans at my niece's loft, because instead of me bothering her when she's studying for college, instead of me bothering her to reboot it, I can just go into the power switch, the remote Bluetooth switch, whatever you want to call it, Wi-Fi switch, and I can do it myself. That's why I'm into the Combinder. But people asking me about all these other projects and stuff, I'm getting weary on some of these projects. I don't know if I'm getting D-Pin burnt out. Well, what y'all tell me, but I don't know. Witness, I do agree with that last statement. Also, is I questioned also why are NFTs not being sold in entropy? You want to burn entropy. You want entropy being used. I mean, think how much buying pressure would be on entropy if Joe Blow off the street was coming to buy an Ashler and need the NFT, and he was forced to go buy entropy to get that NFT. I think you'd see that price a hell of a lot higher, and you'd be making a lot more than $1.50 per day. But I question that with Chirp also. Chirp is it's watching people get smoked by people scalping those NFTs. I think that's the stupidest thing in the world. But yet, now that y'all have established with the TGE, why not sell y'all's miners and force people to buy Chirp? You be injecting liquidity into the token. What sense does that make? I don't know what happens if Sorry becomes valuable, because the Sorry I held, from what I understand, is not the same Sorry that's now. Even though it's the same team pushing Sorry, the new Sorry is a different token address, from what I understand, than what the last one was, correct? So I'm not messing with all that. Look, I'm busy as hell as it is, and working and busting my butt on this YouTube thing for y'all and stuff like that, and doing my best. I don't have time. Like when all these projects, we start looking into all these different intricacies of, you're working with a project, but they're telling you go deal with B project and go deal with C project, and we also are mixing up with D project and go deal with all this stuff. And if you go do all this stuff, then you can come back and claim this and do it. I'm not doing all that. A lot of these projects are going to that, and I'm like, understand that. Hey, you go and you start mixing up with B project. Well, all the people in B project found out about A project. I understand that. I understand, but I'm not going down them rabbit holes. It's hard enough for me to track my wallets and doing stuff that I'm already doing. I think I'm in, what am I in? 15 projects, not included the 2 or 3 that are not on mainnet yet. Listen, y'all wonder why I'm bald? Look, I can't even, I got Witness 101 correcting me on my numbers because I got my entropy numbers completely wrong. I just didn't realize it was still $1.50. I didn't purposely do it. When I did the math yesterday, it said I was making $3 a day. I don't know where that difference came from. But you know me, I could have made a mistake. It's gonna make me a strong drink when this is over with, and we'll move on. So, but y'all tell me, like, if y'all know of a good project that y'all really want me to look into and do a video on, I'm trying to do more videos. Was hoping Wingbits was get a couple of things moving, because I miss doing Wingbits videos. I feel like I haven't did a Wingbits video in forever. And y'all know that's what I was mainly doing. I feel like I'm doing an entropy video every 3 or 4 days. I'm trying to back off that a little bit, because I don't want to be an entropy only channel. They just had new news coming out that I was trying to get to y'all, because I know a lot of y'all are in entropy. But maybe I gotta start doing a couple of videos on other projects that I might not be in, but they seem like good projects that I need to bring to y'all's attention, and Witness 101 will just correct me if I'm wrong on those two. So ATG said, same with Demo. Why can't you pay subscription, the new subscription with Demo? And they can't pay the SIM card provider with, that makes sense. How can ENT become bigger than Pi? Listen, one thing I will say about Entropy is. You have to give them this. They're doing a lot of collaborating with other people, a lot of what do you want to call it, partying or networking, but they are busting their butts on that end. They're always doing something. Maybe y'all don't see that in the Discord side, but me in the private messaging on X, what some of the guys are doing, they are pushing it hard. Now, that doesn't automatically mean it's going to be a 100% successful project in the long run, but they're not just sitting back, just sitting on the sofa watching Astros being sold either. So that's my one positive about it. I don't know. Look, man, I got a number of videos on that already. You just have to go search for them. I have when I got my WB200, one of the first things I was wild with is I had my WB200 sitting on a chair in my backyard, and I think it's the first part of the video. I think it is. It's been a while since I did it, but the stock antenna, and then I put one of the 5.5s that I recommend from Amazon. There's many different 5.5 versions, and they are different, but I had a resounding difference between the 3 dBi, I think it was 3 dBi stock WB200 and the 5.4 I recommend. My WB200 right now is the 5.5, and it is doing wonderful. I've did videos in the past on the DIY stations, trying different antennas. I've tried different antennas also with the WB200, but that 5.5 has been my go-to. I mean, I have my WB200 is in Grand Isle right now, 2 hours south of me. And this is my antenna. You can see with the TNC connector on the bottom. This is my stock antenna for my WB200. So I know some of y'all had y'all's with a little pin. This one's got a good pin on the bottom of it. I'll sell it at good cost. Hey, Tom's a tight. You got people. I know some of y'all have seen Discord where some of y'all have had issues with y'all's antenna coming apart. You know, let's see. Let's see if I can get to it real quick. Y'all make sure you hit your like button while I'm sitting here typing Wingbits stuff up. Oh, sign in. Maps. So you can take a look at this real quick. I have 2 stations in Grand Isle. You know, I know everybody keeps, certain people keep asking about when heck's bigger, but this is my current. Put my face back on the right side and see if I can. I didn't move to count them all. I don't know how many total it's got. So I got 200 with 1400 total for 7. So this is a WB200, 10 feet off the ground. I have a picture of it somewhere. I posted it before. Grand Isle, 10 feet from the Gulf of Mexico. And what's cool is with this, as you can see, I got one at one buddy's fishing hunting camp, and I got one at another one's. This is a DIY station running a 5.5, 10 feet off the ground, 10, 15 feet from the Gulf of Mexico. And look at the difference. You have more, that WB200. I know some of y'all have had issues with them, but that LNA is a better, more improved LNA. And even though they're the same antenna, you have to say it works, man. It works. This station used to do better too. And I know D Vaselino's not here, but he would want us to go check. Chugwater still waiting for somebody, man. Chugwater still waiting for somebody. I thought 619 was going to put one in Chugwater. Oh. I don't have a Solana phone coming. I can tell you that right now. No antenna will help a tree unless it's a chainsaw attached and you use it right. Listen, I belong to a hunting lease that's in Mississippi, and I'm just going to point in this general direction. I would love to put a Wingbit station there. I'm sure I could do one of the 619 special with my $25 MiFi wireless card with 2 or 3 fence poles put together, strapped maybe against a tree. But still, these trees are so high, it's not worth my time. Can't get away from the trees. This is still my best station. This station right here is why I wish they would change their ranking to just who's doing better. Because I still think this is a top 10 station. This is my station that when there's band openings or skip, if y'all familiar with that, I got 160 hexes at one time. I was getting hexes all where I hunt in Missouri. I got hexes all the way up to Springfield. Yeah, Wingbits, we just were waiting on you. No, Ken, Necrosaro 710 asks about DIY stations and Wingbits still from the users. No, you cannot. The end of that, I think it was around last October. They limited it to the first 2,000 people. I got lucky. That's why I tell people do not delete any your DIY stations that you're I've always said if I start making some very good money because of how much drastic, in my opinion, my Wing WB200 works over my DIY stations when I compare them side by side. Eventually, and just because of the headaches what I got to deal with sometimes with DIY stations, I got one that's down right now I'm dealing with. I'd like to swap a couple of those out with WB200s in the future. Again, depending on what I'm making and what the price is and what ROI is, that kind of stuff like that. But I tell people, if you are going to do that, don't get rid of that DIY station. Move it somewhere. Move it to your mama's house, your brother's house, somebody's house. Even if you can't put it up with a super duper antenna, if it's out in the open and if it's an area that doesn't have a lot of stations around it, I just said that about this area. A station here is better than no station at all, even if it's really low. To me, just for reward wise, it wouldn't make sense for me to take one of my stations here. But New Orleans, putting one right here in literally downtown New Orleans, where all these helicopters going back and forth in the what they call the CBD, Central Business District. This is my other station here, half blocked by a house. It's my buddy's station actually. But the reason we have this here is we have Lakefront Airport right here. And Lakefront Airport gets a lot of celebrities that don't want to go through, they're too good to go through the major airports. Like Super Bowl, we had security at this New Orleans, they call it regional airport, and also at the airport right next to where I work at, which is out here. because that's where some of these smaller private jets come in and out of. And that's why there's a Wingbit station right here. Wingbit station right there. I gotta go with Axie because I hooked up a geosonic to my buddy's station that's supposed to be right here, and for some reason it's not showing up. I gotta figure out what's going on here, but that's for another day. All right. You can delete the station. It says just don't lose the geosonic itself. So that's good to know. So you can delete the station, and you can, I guess, eventually move it. Oh, it actually says you can. I didn't know that. If you buy a geosonic from someone, you can put a DIY station up. But Milkman says he used to get CB skip from across the ocean. That's where I learned about it from when I was a kid playing with CBs and stuff, and you would start getting a skip. Or I used to always rescan my TVs, and you'd be surprised how many times you get this TV station from 3 states over. That was cool. Even ham radio and stuff. You're just doing simple simplex. And I'm talking to people in Florida, which with an antenna in my backyard. That's just wild. I never thought the 1,000, a 1 gig band, which is what ADSB is, 1090 megahertz. I just never thought skip was really that prevalent in, it's kind of high in the megahertz range. Normally you see that in your lower frequencies, but that one time I happened to catch it. We were discussing it, and I was actually on the live, and they had something going on, some weird sunspot action or something crazy like that. And I checked my Wingbit station on the live, and it was like 140, 150, 160 stations. I posted it into the Flex room or whatever Wingbits has. It was phenomenal. It was a one-time only thing. My rewards didn't really go up a lot. I didn't care. It's the fact that I got a picture somewhere of all those hexes. That was crazy. So, well, I hope you all enjoyed my impromptu live. I'll start doing a couple more of these. I hope that we keep chugging on. No pun intended. But hey, we're still positive with Wingbits after the AMA today. Robin gave us some good information. Keep your chins up. It's still positive long term. It's still a positive thing. We know that they're busting their asses in this project, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I just wish there was some new stuff that I could be doing videos on. I miss doing videos on my Wingbits. I got to get my hat redone. Definitely got to get my hat redone. Wingbits. I thought it was just a cool pick if y'all would have saw me when I was fishing last week, and I wore this hat specifically to take a picture. For those who are new here, my hat says Godfather of the Gulf, and that's just because my stations cover. If you look at all my hexes, I don't know. If you look at all my hexes, I cover the entire Gulf of Mexico. If you look at when all my stations are combined. How come this always gives me a problem when I'm on lives? Anyway, if you look at all my coverage total, I know they changed this all up recently. Anyway, my coverage covers the whole Gulf. That's why I got a station over here, and I got a station over here, and I am the Godfather, or I call it the Gestapo of the Gulf. So I thought it was cool that I was in the Gulf of Mexico fishing when I took a picture with my Godfather of the Gulf. But hey, it's the little things. It was a cool fishing trip until the heavens opened up and we got absolutely stormed on. Crypto Bullcoin, that is a great question. Great question. Crypto Bullcoin asks, which project is a real need? And that is true. And that is, I brought it up before in the past. Which of these deep pins do we really need? Are people coming out with deep pin projects because, hey, this is kind of network type project that we have in the real world, in real enterprise, real business, that hasn't made it to the crypto side yet. So we're going to make that a deep end project. Is that why, or is there a real need for that? That's why you look, I'm a deep end channel and I like deep end projects, but not every deep end project is going to make it. Or as one of Grumpy's rules is, a project can be successful and the miners, us participants, can get screwed. Or you even have projects where we can do very well up front and the project be complete crap. You know, it is what it is. The seller had 3 geosigners and sold all 3 for $200 each. I Somebody was talking about selling a geosigner. I forget what that was. That was a while back. Because the DIY station was going out, they just weren't going to deal with it anymore. I don't know how that works. I got a buddy at work that's probably gonna be selling the Ashler if anybody's interested at some point. He didn't mine enough NFTs. He has that. He mined an NFT and then bought an Ashler, but didn't realize he was going to need an NFT for his ESP32 at home. And perfect example, which I said earlier. And look, I sit next to him at the desk. He hears me talk about all this stuff all the time. He's got 4 or 5 Wingbit stations. He actually has a station literally on basically. That's what if y'all watch all my videos, he's like 300, maybe 100 yards, 300 feet from the runway of New Orleans International Airport. You don't think he's gonna get every freaking flight that comes in and out of there? But anyway, he didn't realize he needed 2 NFTs. So now he has an Ashler that's coming in or came in from Helium Deploy, and he's probably going to turn around and sell it. So, hey, when he's ready to sell it, I'm going to let y'all know. So at least y'all know it's a legit sale, that it ain't going to be a rug pull or getting screwed over. Hey, you say that we thought H&T was a need, but, and I know a lot of people argue with me, but Helium's been successful. What's it been? It's alive. It's been alive for over 5 years. You have networks on it. Maybe not a lot. Maybe not a lot of data going through it. Helium cell phone thing, I don't know if I really call that 100% successful, but hey, it got further than some other projects did. The mining aspect sucks. I would love for somebody to sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil and please write out and explain to me why my rewards keep going down with less stations on the network than ever before. My reward should be higher than it's been the last 2 or 3 years. And nobody can explain that to me. It's horrible. So we should take a look at the top ENT holders. That would be nice to investigate. Hey, some people have been in this project since last August. I've been in since September. I bet if I would have never sold any of my ENT for the 5 or 6 NFTs I bought. ENTs, NFTs, yeah. Too many abbreviations, too late at night. I bet I would have been one of them top holders. After being in that project for a year. I say that, and I'm still going to say, I wish I would have bought more NFTs so I could have sold them. I didn't think about the aspect of that. I bought enough and 1 or 2 extra to sell so I could move. It's a legal way of selling and getting some entropy back. Think about it. If I can go right now and sell just one of those, if I can sell my snake, for 3 Solana, that's going to put $600 in my pocket. And that's more than I've gotten probably any other, my projects I go over Monday, any of them projects for a year. And that made it all worth it. And that's how I look at it. Hell, even if I can sell my whale for 2 Solana, which is be $400. That's still $400 in my pocket that I made off of an ESP32 device. So that's just happened to it. Bobcats. So I knock on wood, before I say anything, I don't want the Bobcat gods to come after me. I still have 2 Bobcats rolling right now. I have two Bobcats rolling. They got the new Nebra software on them. The little SD cards got to stay in the back of them. But guess what? Knock on wood, I don't want to find them things offline tomorrow. Now, again, I don't know why the helium rewards are so low, but I keep them rolling. I got 17 helium, no, 16, because one of them just went out. My number 1 station on top of my buddy's tower, which was my best rewarding one. It hurt so bad, but he don't have enough. I keep calling him once a week. Hey man, you got a tower climb scheduled? He said, nope, nothing's broken. So I've been doing a rain dance and a lightning dance around my buddy's tower. And he starts cursing me out. I said, man, I need something to get zapped at your tower so I can get another helium monitor up there next time they want to hit, his people do a tower climb. But I just can't understand. I want somebody to explain to me, why are helium rewards so freaking low when there's so few stations online? I don't know. So, all right. So I'm going to try again. Look, I appreciate everybody joining in. Look, I really appreciate Axie for stepping by. I know he had a big day today with his, with Wingbits and that AMA they had. I know they had a lot of people on it. It was good, good attended, well attended, if that's the word you want to use. Me and proper English don't get along. South Louisiana, high school education. But it was still cool. It was still cool to get that AMA, get the update about Wingbits. And some of us might be a little disheartened about the goalpost moving back a little bit further. But hey, for the long run, we know that's what's best for the project, and we have to trust those guys and what they're doing. So I'm still hyped up. I'm upset I had to go cancel the dancing live and the dancing girls for September 1st and cancel my party hats and my party pizzas and stuff, and all my streamers and everything else. But we have in front of our house, I'm sure some of y'all have neighborhoods that do it too, where you can pay the people to come put the signs in front of your house. Like if it's my son's 18th birthday, you can put happy birthday so-and-so, happy 18th birthday. Or like my mom down the street, you can put happy 70th birthday. Or my neighbor down the street put happy 16th birthday for their daughter. I'm putting welcome to mainnet Wingbits. People ain't gonna know what the hell it's for. But I'm still hyped. We're gonna get there. I'm in the rural area outside a big city. I'm only, again, I know I'm trying to get off of this, but I have to mention this. Necrosaro. I hope I'm mentioning that right. I won't say I agree with that statement, but that's kind of where one of Wingbits' failures is. Demo devices. Demo devices have GPS in them. You can go in a demo app and follow the car where it's going. My daughter just started driving. I can look at the demo app, see where, she left her phone at home, so I can't track the phone with, let's say, Life 360. I could track the car, right? If she goes east towards my work and towards the city, I got helium devices all over the place. When she goes west, there ain't another helium device. Once you leave my house, yeah, it's on my 40-foot ham tower in the back, but still, once she gets 4 or 5 miles away, there ain't another station until she gets to Gonzales or Baton Rouge, which is 30 minutes away. You would think there's an incentive to put helium devices in areas where there's zero coverage. But because it's proof of coverage, you wouldn't want that. Where I have one of my ham stations and a Wingbit station at, if y'all ever saw my buddy's building that's by the bridge of Mississippi River, I had at one time a helium station there. It wasn't hitting nobody else. It made no sense. Now, while it gave coverage over a very important, very busy bridge that goes across the river. There's no other bridges for 20 miles this way or 20 miles this way to cross Mississippi River. Think of the amount of traffic coming across it. But there was no incentive for me to keep my helium station there because I was making no rewards. You don't make nothing off data. So I took that helium station and put it where the rest of them are, where my work is. And I'm making, back then I was making good with it. Now you don't make, but it just doesn't make no sense. Oh. Milkman, that's what I was just trying to explain. You make very, very little. My helium miner that's on my 40-foot ham tower back here, the only thing it gets off of it is the data from my 5 demo devices. I'm sorry, 4 demo devices, because one of them stays parked in my work vehicle at the office. So it's just data. I make like literally 0.0002 HNT a day from all that data. You're not making squat off data. You know, if you have a friend or something that you can go on the Moken Explorer from Helium Deploy and check that map and see where they got other helium devices at. And maybe you have a friend or family member that lives close to where some of these other stations are. Then you also have to make sure you click on a station, because a lot of times those hexes, that's been one of my biggest complaints with helium, is that the hexes are still lit up, but the station ain't been online forever. So to make it worth your while, because it's proof of coverage, that's where the rewards are. That's where the rewards still are. You know, 619 and some of these guys, if they're still in here, can help you out too. But because they've been in that game longer than I have. That's how we all know each other. It's from all those, you know, helium discords and Vosk coin discords and stuff like that. But, you know, I got working on my helium, brand new out the box, courtesy of Jorge. Thank you again, man. I appreciate it. But this is going to my niece's loft in New Orleans, because she has several helium stations all the way around there. The hex she lives in, luckily, somehow is empty, and it'll get pretty decent rewards. It ain't gonna get nothing great, but brand new. I mean, he had a brand new rack, not the rock, because the rock was crap. Brand new rack hotspot version 2.0. Still in the box, brand new. It's got a new car smell on it. So, helium just halved again. I didn't think helium just halved again. But my rewards have been down even in July. Like, even in July, they were down again. So I think the halvings are in August. Was it 21, 23, and 25? Yeah. But you know what, though? You're right. Because I remember looking at the numbers. And I'm going to leave y'all on this note. I don't want to be inaccurate, because I don't want nobody coming after me again saying I was wrong. You know, see this, or do I have it zoomed up too much? I have it zoomed up too much because of, y'all bear with me for 1 second. This is going to be worth it. And then y'all going to go throw up your lunch or dinner if y'all ate just like I did. I know it's hard to see without the zeros. Without the commas. But even at $2.95, your original investors of helium are making, after the halving, God forbid, they got their rewards halved also. They're now making 350,000 HNT a month. A month. Which means they're making, even at this price, they're making $1,035,989.50 per month. And you want to ask what's wrong with the freaking helium project? So just think, before on the last halving, they were making 725,000, I think it was, something like that. Or 750, because at one time it was 1.5. So now y'all want to ask what's wrong with the helium project? Just remember, investors were making that every month back when the token was $5, $10, $20, $40 a month. Again, what's wrong with the helium project? Investors are still making that. Even when they went to IoT and mobile, they were still making that in HNT somehow, because that was discussed over and over in the Discord. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everybody who came to this impromptu live. We'll probably do it again this weekend, unless I get really bored again. Thursday is my normal live. We'll find something to talk about then too. Maybe some more of my bad math with entropy, but it is what it is. It ain't like I'm quitting it. I'm still rolling strong with it. It is what it is. I just got to figure out when I want to sell my NFTs. But I thank everybody for watching, and we'll see y'all on the next video, whenever that one is. See y'all later. Thank y'all.